Good morning and good afternoon or good evening for those who are living in different time zones. This is the first live with Ghalia episode that concentrates on luxury retailing. I thought that it's very important for us to highlight on this industry as retailing and retail formats and might differ when it comes to high-end brands or maybe low-end brands. We thought as well that when we were talking with different academics and professionals, that putting the light on these aspects of luxury retailing is important because we should be able to understand how customers consume luxury retailing, how retail formats are adapted to meet with those customers' needs, and so on. Of course, in future episodes, we'll be looking at different aspects of luxury retailing and luxury retail formats. Might as well concentrate on types of ephemeral retailing and so on. So today I'm going to start this first session with Shrehya, who is a luxury brand consultant, a blogger, and a content creator. And I decided to start with Shrehya because she had developed a great content on luxury retailing and specifically related to the Indian market. So let's meet up with Shrehya, and I'm going to invite her in, and we're going to get to know her and talk about all of the specifics of luxury retailing in the Indian market. Okay, let's do the usual invitations or to join me in. Of course, your questions and your comments are always welcome throughout the conversation. And for those who cannot meet us directly through that live, you are welcome to find the episodes on YouTube and IGTV. Here we go. Hello, hello.
Hi, Kyla.
How are you?
Very well, very well.
Good.
How have you been?
I'm fine. I was just doing an intro and saying that we have time differences. So I was saying good morning to those in Europe and good
Uh,
evening to those
okay, good
over.
evening to everyone. Yes. It's actually quite a challenge because with also the time difference of the summer and winter, it gets quite confusing when you have meetings and you're running 1 hour behind or running 1 hour late. So it's
Exactly.
confusing.
But it's okay anyway. As I was saying, that all of these episodes will be directly available on IGTV and YouTube for those who missed us or who joined in a bit late during the conversation. But now I will leave the floor to you. I have done a very brief intro about you and who you are, but I think you are most adapted to tell us about yourself.
Super. So, quick brief about myself. I started my journey with luxury when I did my master's from Politecnico di Milano, which was in the year 2018 and 19. After that, I got a chance to work in this media firm called Tag Paris, where we were dealing with this brand Richemont. We were dealing with the third largest conglomerate. And we used to basically work with a couple of brands under them. We had Cartier, Piaget, Vacheron Constantin, Baume & Mercier. We closed Van Cleef& Arpels at that point of time. And so what we used to do was the media adaptation, the print and digital media adaptation for them globally. So I began my journey there, and ever since then, there's always been a fascination when we see different stories relating to brands and how they've been developed and how they've come to life. So I started reading a lot about them, and I was supposed to stay back in Paris, but unfortunately, I had to come back to India because of the pandemic, and my visa couldn't get through. So when I got back to India, I just realized that there is a lot of market gap in a way that people understand luxury, but they still don't understand luxury in the right manner.
Right.
It's mostly to do with the nouveau riche population that we have that is attracted to luxury because of social media or the fad of getting into buying luxury goods. And I then just realized that, why not put down whatever I know, because I love writing about the history of the brands also, because it's quite fascinating to know how they've been created. So I just started putting down my points, why India couldn't, create a brand of their own, and, things like that. That we have artisans who work towards creating luxury, but we've not been successful as of now to brand ourselves globally. And one of those articles picked up really well. I got a lot of response from people globally who wanted to discuss this with me further. So I actually made a lot of good connections out of that. And then I just realized that, I can actually start creating content and share that with people because they enjoy reading it and they like
Right.
a different approach. It's not supposed to be serious all the time. It can be a little more emotional. Luxury is supposed to be emotional. So, connecting it with different aspects. For example, I visited the Picasso Museum. So what did I learn out of that? How did I connect it with my
Yeah.
journey with luxury?
Mm,
So
yeah.
that led me to actually start with this Instagram page
Yeah.
where I wanted to talk about different aspects of luxury branding, luxury marketing, and also personal branding, where people could understand the importance of branding, and in a different way. So talk about psychology of pricing. If people love wine, but they should know why wine is expensive, or how cheap wine and expensive wines are made.
Yes.
So there is a lot to do with pricing also. So yes, so I started that journey, and it's just the start, and I hope there is a long way, and it can be exciting to collaborate and
Of
talk
course
more
it
about
will
it.
be. Anyway, it is the type of journey that starts somewhere and could organically grow into a beautiful content creation site. Now, in your opinion, you have highlighted the importance of luxury as being as having an understanding in different countries that might be different than the picture of luxury that is portrayed internationally. I mean, what we today see as luxury and luxury brands is one aspect of luxury. Today, in countries like India, there is a savoir-faire, a way of doing things, and maybe a high level of craftsmanship that allow brands to be called as luxurious brands, but then they are not. So what's happening there in your opinion? Why aren't countries like India or other countries who have the ability to produce quality material and quality products not able to find themselves on this global luxury map?
I can say that in terms of India, I will not be in a place of talking about a lot of other countries, but with India again, coming back to the same part that why craftsmen, when we have artisans who are doing incredible work, and they're used to this savoir-faire as we've spoken about, the craftsmanship of hand embroidery, what we consider really luxury in European culture. It's a very known fact to the Indian audience. So, firstly, I think um, the the understanding of why we've not created luxury is because firstly the branding has been an issue. I feel people have not capitalized on how we can create a brand out of it. It's more towards we created a thing, and I think there's just not a long-term perspective view. But now, with the evolution, how things are working around, with the coming up of media and also a lot of Instagram helping designers way. So the understanding of brand has started to creep in. People have started understanding that brand is not just about endorsing Bollywood artists. It is not just endorsing celebrities. It's more to do with a person as an individual. How do you want to portray what your brand value is at the end of the day? So that is one. Secondly, I believe that because India has it's you've got artisanship a lot. It's all around you. So understanding that it's scarce outside is a difficult thing for people to understand.
Right.
That could also be one of the factors because in Europe we have, for example, people doing embroideries or the craftsman who's working on it. We have a scarcity of that, but in India we actually have a lot of them. So that the concept of creating scarcity out of it is also missing. So that is another reason why we might not have created a brand and why people don't aspire or consider expensive work embroidery or handcrafted luxury. But that is eventually changing because brands have started educating audiences. Basically, the concept of educated consumerism has come in, where they started telling them that it takes a lot of effort in creating those embroideries. It
Right.
takes a couple of hours. It takes a couple of 100 hours to create that piece of work. Uh, there is a thought and a value and a process that goes behind creating it. So I think it's more towards branding all these aspects and bringing that in front of audience and communicating in the right way, which wasn't done that well in the past. But I think now uh, we have a few brands that are capitalizing on it, and we hope that it just picks up even in
Yeah.
the global.
So basically, putting one to one together, of course, as you said, creating a brand would entice many different elements. The craftsmanship and the savoir-faire is one thing, but you have to top it up with the processes of doing it, developing the right identity, and then giving all of that a whole immersive or holistic concept that could be communicated later on. However, would you think, and I know it's still early on the journey of the country to say so, but you think that maybe Indian luxury still has or still portrays a strong cultural aspect of the product that might still have a local feel that could not be transposed to other countries?
Indian luxury has been always synonym to bridal wear, if you know.
Yeah,
Wherever we think of Indian luxury, we always think about bridal wear. Um, that's one aspect that we need to change. Designers need to shift that perspective.
yeah.
So that will need a little bit of innovation. We do require innovation. Again, as I said, that designers are coming up, but I feel that the cultural importance of understanding where we come from, the country of origin again plays a very important role in luxury. You cannot dissociate from the fact that it has been produced in India. So I feel that the story can always be told, the culture always can be, kept intact and should be intact, but it can be told in a different way altogether, which can be adaptable in different countries. For example, if we have um, Sabyasachi at the moment. He is into bridal wear. But if we expect Sabyasachi to do something exceptionally different, maybe a different brand altogether, which is uh, not bridal wear, but still luxury. So I'm sure that could be adapted in different countries or could go globally, which can be worn by even European audience or US audience for that matter. So
Right.
that I think needs that innovation. And again, there are brands who are doing it, but I think there's still that innovation is still needed. We need to move out of creating luxury in the same old manner that we've been doing. So I think that needs to be there at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, and so again, we go back to this issue to continue our conversation. We believe that today the Indian luxury market is striving. Do you think that there are local initiatives pushing people to go into entrepreneurial ventures, into creating real types of brands as respecting brand standards? Are schools in India, for example, fashion schools or marketing schools, developing programs to grow that aspect that is much needed, or are still Indian young talents traveling to Europe to acquire this knowledge and then come back to India? Maybe this is also a little bit your case.
Um. Yes, I think this is quite a debatable topic. I would say.
Yeah.
There cannot be one perspective out of it. Um. Yes, we have schools. Yes, we have institutions where we train designers. We have great institutions like NID, NIFT, which are designing schools as well as fashion school. NIFT is one of the best in India. We have Pearl, but and it inspires the individual to do design and create. But I feel uh, a lot more can be done towards empowering them to create their own brand. Every
Yes.
and when I mean by brand, I just don't mean by creating something, just to sustain yourself. But when I say brand, I believe that you start a brand with a mission. You start a brand to create your own voice with the product that you want to sell, because that has a long-term sustainability in the longer run. Creating something
Right.
which is in fashion, creating something which is, right at the moment, just because you can design, is not going to sustain a brand. That's not going to create a brand. But that is again a shift in perspective that we need to instill in our students, and we need to make it more empowering for them. Because it can be a lot of struggle in a place like India where there is a lot of competition. There is a lot of competition, and it is a real struggle for designers to break through and create a presence. But even installing, having that concept that you can do it, and it is needed for you to even give it a shot. So I think that's needed. And coming back to your next point, that people come to Europe, train and go back. Like for example, I did my masters, so that always adds up to the understanding of how the global market works. It's beautiful because then you actually understand how currently luxury is being perceived
Mm.
by the European market, where you know there is a reason why Milan is the fashion capital. There is reason why French capital of Paris is the place where you get so inspired, because everything around that inspires you. It's the art, it's the mixture of uh, the theater, the literature. My time during Paris, it's basically a city that absorbs you, and there's just so much that inspires you as an artist. So that is again one of the
Right.
reasons why I believe that people even go to Europe, because they actually are surrounded by that art. Which is also, I mean, India is also very, very culturally diverse, and it has a heritage value. But I just always feel that an open mind and exploring different cultures, that it just broadens your perspective to some other level, and you don't know how you mix two different perspectives and create a new thing altogether. So that's
Right.
my
It's
view on
really
it.
interesting, your opinion. And since we're talking about consumption and perception of luxury, we might also see how European brands and global European luxury brands uh, getting more and more interested in the Indian market. I mean, if these brands come to open their stores in major Indian cities, how will local Indian brands be able to face those luxury giants who are like cannibalizing the market?
This is something that has always been a topic of discussion, where I feel that we need to push. I had done an article on this as well, where at questioned what luxury brand managers should be focusing on at the moment.
Yeah.
Should they be focusing on pushing the Indian luxury brands globally, or should they be focusing on getting global brands to India? What should be the effort? So that's a question that's going to be difficult to answer, because yes, um, we do have luxury brands, but they do not have uh, they're not as globally as strong as other brands.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small. They're very small compared to the luxury giants that we have globally. And definitely, there are audience sets who want it.
Hmm.
People want Chanel, people want Gucci, people want their Louis Vuitton. I remember my friends coming to visit me to Paris, and they used to make sure, to make one day from Champs-Élysées to go to all the stores that they have to, because you obviously get things for much cheaper price, and you get the best designs out there. So it's going to be definitely difficult, because the diversity is also different. Indian luxury is again more concentrated towards bridal market, and people don't think about spending that amount of money in Indian luxury, for example, handbags or shoes, things like that. So it's a difficult. It's going to be a difficult challenge, definitely.
Right, yes. I mean, getting customers to change their perceptions and to value the product, the local product, in terms of what it's worth versus maybe the worth of other competing global luxury brands. Someone has, I think, placed a little comment. In India, many people have the purchasing power to buy luxury products, but still people are not ready to pay more. Yeah, for the brand name. I think it joins a little bit what we have been saying. Thank you for the comment. I mean, it's always controversial because sometimes we know how much local craftsmanship is worth in terms of time and effort into producing a gown or a jewelry piece, etc. But still, we psychologically feel more enticed to go and buy from a brand that is globally known because it's maybe more reassuring and it's all about the customer experience, I believe. And I wanted to go through that point with you to talk a little bit about the local Indian brands and the development of retail formats. I mean, I know that people are now into that global aspect of consumption, and we have become acquainted globally and formatted into how to consume and in which formats we should consume. Are local brands also investing in their retail environment to develop adapted retail forms in which local Indian customers could buy through or buy in? And would this change a little bit the local shopping experience in India?
Okay, so I'll get back to the first comment that was made by somebody. Thank you so much for pointing that out because uh, that is one of the most challenging aspects when it comes to Indian consumers and for luxury brands to break through. Um, because Indian consumers are very value conscious, they're very value driven. Uh, they are not as concerned about the latest design, but they'll be more concerned about what is going to be my return value out of it.
Yes.
If they go to buy a luxury car, they'll be definitely, they'll know everything about it and they'll make sure that they know the mileage that they're going to get out of it. For example, they go to buy jewelry, the first thing they want to know what is the return value out of it. You know, Unfortunately, Chanel, I don't know, they're not very well aware about the fact that Chanel can have a great return value. So you
Yeah.
can actually invest in one of them. Um, but yes, coming to your point, Gala, your question that how Indian brands are investing in their retail outlets to change the local shopping experience. I think one of the most important change and development that we're seeing in India, which is extremely strong in the Indian market, is the immersion of e-commerce platforms. Um, India is
Yes.
digitalizing at a very, very fast pace. We are doing extremely well when it comes to digital segment, and more and more designers and brands they want to go online. In fact, I remember when I've come back and I was freelancing for a few brands. Within, I think, my working of 6 months, I know three brands who set up their website live and they started the e-commerce platform and they also started retailing. Retailing also has a very strong importance of customer service that we have. So we'd seen a lot of online consultations happening through video calling, and to ensure safety measures were taken, and online payments were becoming more common.
Yeah.
So I think there has been a shift, a very, very sudden shift for people who are even reluctant. Brands were quite reluctant to go online because um, investing a certain amount of money, which is high value money, um, just over a website by looking at the design might not give a customer 100% satisfaction of what they are buying because we have this habit of touching and feeling the product, understanding if the quality is good
Right.
or not, understanding if the work is, the best finish or not. But having said that, this was something which was, um, I would say, they couldn't delay it any further. They had to take this channel of distribution and get into retailing, which is one of the things which our brands have picked up really well. And
Yeah.
I'm sure like a lot of people are going to get into it also. Yes.
Okay. It's really interesting how we put it because it shows a little bit the importance of the injection of new retail formats, the adoption of customers, and then the adaptation of the type of brand and the level of the brand in the industry, and to what extent the new retail format would help sell its products or wouldn't really do that. And I believe that in India, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's also the types of markets where social media platforms are really important tools to share information about these types of brand. Not only people flaunt their possessions on social media, but it's also a great way for brands to connect to customers through social media. Is there, for example, an important wave of social selling, for example, live streaming sessions of brands to showcase their products, show them to customers, and then deliver the product or what is being shown to them, or didn't it pick up yet?
Again, yes, because we just discussed it in the previous segment that uh, there has been a lot of digital invasion in the country,
Yeah.
and we've seen a massive difference in the past 7, 8 years, where brands have picked up eventually. Not even 7, 8 years. It's been 5 years where brands are actually picking up Instagram
Yeah.
and using it as a platform. And Instagram today is the leading platform when it comes to creating a brand. If you want to launch your brand, it's Instagram because campaigns, the kind of campaigns that you create,
Mm-hmm.
it basically creates a buzz in you know, the segment that wants to purchase that product uh, for the brand. Coming to live streaming, I wouldn't say, at least I haven't witnessed a lot of it. I might be wrong here, but according to when it comes to my knowledge, I haven't seen a lot of brands getting into live streaming and selling their products in India as of now. And but however, they're open to the concept of video calling and personal one-to-one online consultancy. So
Right.
if you want to get on a video call, WhatsApp video call, they're more than happy to do it.
Yes.
So that's becoming going back to the concept of luxury, actually touching luxury now, where it was all about giving a personalized service
Yes.
rather than doing a mass marketing of what you're going to produce and what you want to sell.
Right.
So
And now we're
especially
doing
in
it
India,
with online tools because these are the ones available to us, I mean.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. In fact, I'll tell you a thing about Indian luxury segment. So initially, way back in time, we used to have this concept of a person used to come to our own house. For example, you have this one person who used to have the best quality of saris, the best quality of things that you need for yourself. And the person used to come and show you, be it your own personal jeweler, your own personal stylist, the person used to come to your house and present what he has, the best of collection. And eventually, obviously, with, retailing moving the way retailing has, so that eventually got lost. The essence of giving you that personalized attention got lost. But I think with COVID, that thing is has created a buzz where people have started realizing that, oh my, this is something that we should also go back to.
Revive.
So I
Yes.
think
Yes.
revive it, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's one segment where brands are picking up, and even globally, luxury brands, customer service is something that everybody is focusing on at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. You know why I'm laughing? Because the page of this page, Huckster, means actually the person who used to go from door to door to sell products, etc.
Oh,
Yes, so I'm happy. And
this is
sometimes
so
when
sexy.
I go through like readings, when I'm doing research and so on, and I go back to like the initial formats of retailing, being a huckster or a dweller at the time we call it, or people who used to even go from town to town with their like little bags and sell their goods. So I mean, I know that this has been lost, but as you said, maybe some brands, surely luxury brands could benefit from it because it adds value to their services, of course, and puts more attention to the customer, especially if he's spending a quite an important amount of money to that. Um, let's refocus a little bit on the retail format, and I was curious to see that in India we had a lot of development in retail and retail format, but that took more an, of an amplification in the food industry or the fast-moving goods industry. I mean, we read lots of articles about like those crazy supermarket formats or about the little restaurants that appear here and there that are really pushed concepts. I mean, why do you think this industry has thrived and grown and the retail industry didn't? I know that we always ask the same questions, but I always hope to get many angles in order to give more value to our talk.
Definitely. When it comes to luxury, the issue with Indian market is the unavailability of the space. We do not have the right space, the infrastructure to build a brand, to welcome a brand or create a brand at that right place.
Right.
Because with luxury brand, it is just not the that you're creating for street that. So that becomes one of the major hindrances when it comes to creating retail infrastructure, luxury retail infrastructure in the country. One of the major reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, I feel this is a place where we could actually introduce a lot of innovation because, yes, we have issues with the infrastructure and we need to, brands initially used to have their stores in the luxury hotels, but eventually they shifted out of that and they moved into the luxury malls that we have. We have five of them doing extremely well, and apparently we have two of them coming forward, hopefully in the near future. We're expecting them to come up soon. So now luxury malls are doing well and brands are doing well. We have a few standalone stores also, but it's I think it's one of the major challenges for luxury brands to create a retailing aspect
Right.
when it comes to Indian market. Also, again, um, eventually, I think this is one of the most interesting things that we can speak about today is how the customer is changing because initially it was mostly customers were initially concentrated in the metropolitan cities. You have these four cities, which is globally known. But the new population who has new money comes from the second, two tier, and three tier cities who actually have that amount of money to splurge on luxury brands,
Right.
but it's difficult for them to reach out to them. Which yes, they're trying really hard to build e-retailers and get e-commerces on and supply them. But I believe that that physical touch is also needed because it is only then that they'll realize how the brand is supposed to be perceived.
Yeah.
It's just not supposed to be bought as a product. It's a whole experience. You need to be there. You need to feel there. So replicating that same experience is definitely one of the biggest challenges. Why what Indian retail faces at the moment.
Yeah. So like now that we have moved on and forward into this conversation, you have highlighted really important issues related, first of all, to the retail infrastructures, which is an important aspect in luxury retailing, the availability of space, the great competition between local and global types of brands, and customers, and the ability for brands to cater for these types of customers. And you also mentioned the importance of these new types of customers who have money to spend on luxury. And could we define if these customers are young customers or are still maybe in their maturity age and have the capacity to spend money? I mean, are new luxuries also associated with newer or younger customers?
So India is home to the youngest population at the moment. We have the Gen Z population, which is increasing at a massive rate. Gen Z falls in the category of, I think, 10 to 25, if I'm not wrong. And that is the population that has grown along with Instagram, who are well aware about brands,
Yeah.
and they know how to consume brands.
Mm.
So this is the growing population. Then we have the millennials, who are the the newly earning population,
Mm.
who have a high disposable income. And then we also have working women, which we, have this. Initially, we didn't have so much of population with the working woman was, but now we have them to the crowd as well. So yes, these population and also connecting your two-tier and three-tier population also. So these are the new consumers who have the new money,
Yeah.
and they are the ones who actually, uh, luxury brands should be focusing on because we have a certain set of population, which is a very small percentage of population, who are associated with luxury as a lifestyle.
Right.
For them, it's not going to it's not going to affect as much as it's going to matter to the major population, the major percentage of the population, because this percentage of population, they're happy to go outside, fly out, either to Dubai, London, to go purchase their luxury brands, whatever they want to. But the back population at home, the majority of population, that's where the money is, and that's where the brands need to focus on at the moment.
Right, which is a really important point to highlight. And I was curious to know that we spoke about the important digitalization of the country and the wave of the digitalization and e-commerce platforms. Do we find that most or the majority of the population would prefer to buy luxury items and export them from other countries? Or do we still prefer to buy luxury and consume it locally if we have the chance to?
Um, it's it's because of the high import duties and the tax rate that we have in the country that people are reluctant to buy luxury from locally. Basically, we have import duty which is almost 20 to 30%, and we have tax on goods and services luxury consumption 28%. So that actually increases
It adds
the
up,
price
right?
a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I mentioned it to you, my friends, whosoever used to visit me, the first place, whether it's Milan or Paris, they used to always go buy luxury from the streets because, uh, firstly, A, they get better design. They have like more updated designs there.
yes,
Secondly, yes, it's cheaper.
yes,
It's
yes,
better.
yes. Come
So
to think about it that way, as if you're buying like two for one, if you're buying it abroad and plus you're visiting a new city. I mean, these are considerable factors that we should look at when it comes to luxury and the consumption of local versus global
absolutely.
aspects. Yeah, right. And so we've seen that there is always a need for customers to consume luxury, either for their standing, either for their lifestyle, or for their appearances. Um, in your opinion, what are the futures, or how is the future looking for Indian luxury?
Okay.
It's
So,
always difficult, I mean, of course, to answer this question, but maybe we could connect the dots a little bit.
hmm, so the reason I started writing was because I could see the gap between people consuming luxury who are my age, people who have the ability to, who are very well aware about the brands, who are very well connected to social media. Irrespective of that, they have the link between why should they buy luxury. It is more to do with the social status. It is more to do with standing out. It is more to do with uh, being part of a particular set of society that you would want to fit in, or you just acquire that money, so it's kind of a push that you want to give yourself and uplift yourself. But again, I wanted them to resonate with the brand that they want,
Yeah.
they would want to buy. Um, and that will happen eventually only when brands focus on educated consumerism and telling them why you should buy a Louis Vuitton, why you should buy a Chanel. Like I, if today I am an individual, I might resonate with the brand Chanel. I might not resonate with what Gucci has to offer, for example. So that's because I have an understanding of which brand that I resonate with myself. Because that brand at the end of the day reflects my own personality,
Yeah.
reflects my own
Mm,
individuality as a person.
mm,
So that will only happen when we start educating consumers why should you buy what you're buying.
mm.
Louis Vuitton is famous for the luggages that they create. It's famous for the leather that they have. So the things that needs to be uh, conveyed to the audience, but again, this needs to be done in a more personalized manner, I feel, in a more localized manner for Indian consumers.
Right. And speaking of that, a recent report showed that these new young consumers are more ethical in their consumption and have more ethical considerations towards what they are buying and if they adhere with the brand's values. I mean, if we don't find that win-win a relationship, if we don't feel the brand, if we feel that they don't share the same values as we do, we don't want to purchase from them, even if they have the best product or whatever. So it's really important that you've highlighted that, and it's nice to see customers or this new generation rethinking consumption and rethinking how they want to consume, or if they want to consume, they want to do it differently. What are the other topics that come or cross over your mind that you would like to share and that we still didn't share?
This is, I think I'll digress. Would you allow me to move a little outside the concept of Indian luxury retail and just talk about what retail could actually look like in the coming time? Because I started reading about blockchain recently,
Yeah.
and we've seen how blockchain has been having a great impact on the retail market for luxury brands,
Yeah.
and brands have been actually looking at this segment. So I think that's one of the technology which might do really well for luxury brands in terms of counterfeiting, which is one of the most important and major issues when it comes to Indian market as well. Because your Ghala once I had this call with this person from London, I believe, and we discussing about resale of luxury goods in Indian market. But the issue was that when you create a brand here, when you create an outfit from a particular brand, you don't know if that's the original product that you're going to,
Yeah.
rebuy again, because there is no way. The moment the designer
So
makes the design
controversial.
out,
Yes, yes.
and it's by most people, even the designer knows about it, because that's how the market functions. And trust me, they're just so good that you can't make a difference. You cannot
Yeah,
find it whether it's a first copy or a second copy.
yeah.
So that's where I think this technology might do really well with the concept of counterfeiting luxury products. Um, and that's a place where I think luxury needs to put in a little bit of more importance, and even for Indian market for that matter, definitely. That's one of the most uh, challenging aspects for luxury in India. Even when, for example, we have e-retailers coming in, we have two major luxury conglomerates, like you can say, not luxury conglomerates, like conglomerates for India market. We have one Reliance Brand Limited, and we have Arvind Fashion and Arvind Retail Fashion and Brands. I think, yes, I'm just like pronouncing it a little wrong. So these two companies have most around 50 brands under their portfolio. Um, they have partnerships, strategic partnerships, and joint ventures with luxury brands, and they're bringing them in the country. And they're trying to go online by creating luxury e-commerce platforms where we can sell it to the consumers, especially targeting the 2-tier and the 3-tier cities.
Yeah.
But here also the concept of counterfeiting is always scary for every luxury consumer. That amount of money, purchasing a luxury
Yeah.
product, you need to know that it's authentic. So how do you find out if it's authentic or not? So this is where this technology might do really well for the industry.
There. All right. Thank you. I think we have a last question or comment. Could you talk a bit about the pre-loved luxury market in India? I think, is it pre-owned? I think pre-owned. Yes. So we're talking
Yes.
about the second-hand market. I think, I mean, it's really important. Even we're seeing that there are more and more applications in which a consumer or an individual could add in their goods, maybe bags, shoes, or whatever item, and they could sell them from individual to individual. I mean, but as you said, there's always a chance for selling non-authentic or items that are not real, and this might be causing a problem for consumers and brands, as you said. But it's an important issue, right?
Resale market in India, that's one of my favorite topics. So thank you for asking about it. Um, so when I had come back from outside, Paris, has amazing vintage shops,
Yeah,
and people love investing in vintage concept, and because they just find the concept of rarity there. But when we come back to India, there is this sense of taboo of not purchasing secondhand products so much.
yes,
You know,
yes,
they are of the mindset that why don't we buy the first hand product? Why do we have to buy them? But eventually, with a few second-hand e-commerce platforms where they sell second-hand products, uh, it's relatively been around 5 years that they are in the market on an
yeah,
average.
yeah,
The market, I believe, has picked up well. Um, the, the reason that it's picked up eventually is because they had to work on the mindset of the consumer, that it is okay. In fact, it's cooler to buy
a
second.
pre-owned, yeah,
Yeah, it's basically you are not increasing the consumption.
yeah,
You are reusing it. You're doing a sustainability bit. Uh, Plus, it is a vintage piece because it's passed down to you, so you have um, a story behind it as well. And also, I feel because brands need to, I think there needs to be a understand. I don't know how to put it very correctly, but they need to understand that it is okay to just try out a luxury product, rather than just like investing a lot of money in buying a new Chanel bag. uh, it is okay if you want to just start off with buying a second-hand Chanel bag for yourself.
yes, yes.
You don't have
It's
to
it's
buy.
also a way of educating ourselves on
Exactly.
whether we want to go into that luxury buying or not, and give it a try, because as you said, maybe we don't like it, or we are not set for this type of
Exactly.
market. And
Plus,
as you,
also for the new money, again, for the working population who are coming in, and they just started earning recently, but they still want a piece of luxury,
hmm.
in a wardrobe. I think that's one of the best options. Why do you want to go buy,
Why
right
do you
out of
want
the market?
to pay the full price where you can still get luxury items with, yeah. And knowing
Absolutely.
that, as you said, it's also a customer state of mind and education, because most of the times these second-hand or pre-owned items have been iconic models that the brand is not even repeating. So the value is actually worth more than going and buying a new product.
Exactly. Like you don't even know what you've put your hands on. If
Exactly.
you don't even know if that product was only out of the 200 pieces that's available in the world, but you're
Right.
getting it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. People need to know that even a Chanel bag has an investment value in it.
Yeah.
But that needs to be spoken more often about. I feel
Mm.
obviously not as a luxury brand cannot push that concept, but that just comes eventually when you are more educated about investing. If
Yeah.
you're investing in gold, you can invest in that as well. It's going to
Yes.
give you a good amount. So yeah.
Right. Right. I mean, I think that we have tackled important issues about the luxury and Indian luxury markets. Thank you for that. Due to time constraints on these live formats, we are bound to 59 minutes, so we try to do as much as we can. As I said earlier, this is a topic that could not be discussed in 1 hour. I know there are lots of things to highlight and lots of areas to really go in depth and explore further. And I hope that we could do this in another live maybe, and talk about more specific issues related to luxury. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we conclude our live session?
No, I think we've done pretty well. We've covered quite a few aspects of Indian luxury retail and retail in general. Uh,
I think it's been quite a holistic conversation. So it's been a good conversation that way. I
Thank
hope,
you so
I hope
much.
people actually get something interesting inside out of it.
Of course, we will. I mean, generally, conversations could generate as we do on these live sessions, and then we always have lots of exchanges after we reshare them on the social media platforms. As I said earlier, for those who just joined us, it will be directly available on Hubster's IGTV, and I will be sharing it later on YouTube, so people could have access to that conversation and maybe get back to you with any questions that they could have.
I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my capability. Yes.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time, for all of this knowledge that you highlighted about the market. And it's really always interesting to put forward information that we don't really have, because maybe what we read in media and what we read in like articles is not always reflective of the reality of the market in which we live in. So it's really important to have these types of highlights. Thank you again for your time, and hopefully we meet up in new live sessions.
Thank you so much, Ghala, for having me.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.